Hello. So for this week's topic, I am choosing the topic of coping strategies. I think that this one really resonates with me a lot, so that's why I picked this one. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of statistics, and according to the CDC, over 56% of the population of the United States is always experiencing some form of stress on a day-to-day basis. And that's 56% of the population. That is a lot. That is over half of the population. There's tons of reasons as to why that is, and I'm going to get into it a little bit more. But so for this presentation, my 3 learning objectives are going to be: what is a coping strategy? What type of situation would be required for, or like a stressor? What type of stressors would cause a person to use a coping strategy? And what type of coping strategies work best for you? And this is going to be an opinionated sort of learning objective. So I hope that's okay, Professor. All right. So I'm going to get into kind of the breakdown of a coping strategy and some information that is a need to know. So coping strategies are the tactics that people use to deal with stressful situations. So a stressful situation, for example, a relationship issues between two people, work environment, stressful work environments, anything that, depending on the type of person, anything could be used as a coping or as a stressful situation. So there are also different types of coping skills as well that people use to deal with these certain events in life. So there's problem-focused coping, and then there's emotion-focused coping. Problem-focused coping is, for example, you would have to think about a situation analytically instead of thinking of a situation based on your emotions. So, for example, an example of like problem-focused coping would be something's going wrong at work, and you have to think about how you handle that situation. This isn't using the part of your brain with the emotions. This is the part of your brain that has to think analytically and logically in order to figure out a solution to this problem. Now, an emotion-focused coping is, well, that's the part of your brain that needs to use emotion. So, for example, let's say a relationship issue between two people. That one is going to have your emotions at a high point, and that one is going to have your emotions kind of going back and forth in your brain. So that one, you really have to center yourself, and you have to think about what you're feeling, think about how you respond to this type of situation based on who you're talking to. So those are like the 2 most like important types of like coping skills that you would use. So it's important to make sure that you know that what is a stressor for you. So yeah. Okay. So kind of like the key takeaways I want to like really pinpoint for this situation or for this presentation is that, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna backtrack on that. I'm sorry. So an example of like a really good like coping strategy or coping mechanism would be maintaining boundaries with whoever is causing you to have a stressor. Deep breathing meditation can also really help too. It doesn't seem like it would for depending on the type of person, but deep breathing meditation can actually work very, very well. And then physical activity. Now, this one is one that I use a lot. I go to the gym whenever I feel stressed, or whenever I I go to the gym whenever I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling like my emotions are at an all-time high, anything like that. So physical activity is a must when trying to deal with the stressor. And then making to-do lists can also help too, because one of the biggest stressors amongst Americans is time management. Time management can cause a lot of stress, and it takes a lot of problem solving to be able to figure out your entire schedule, like what you have to do this week. So making to-do lists for the week or even for the day, really, that can help lower some of the stress levels within your life. And then for me, like personally, what I do is I like to color in like an adult coloring book. And then I also like to journal. And these both kind of help with the emotions part of my brain. That's what I'm more focused on as my stressors, is emotion based. So I really like to like color, or like color inside the lines of something. And then I really like to journal because I can see my thoughts physically right in front of me, and that helps me sort them out a little bit better. So, yeah. So, kind of the key takeaway that I want to pinpoint here is, with a coping mechanism, it's different for every person. It is completely different from everyone. You have to make sure that you're figuring out the right type of coping mechanism for you. So you need to figure out what your stressor is, if it's problem-based or if it's emotion-based, and then figure out what your best coping mechanism is going to be from there. That's kind of the key takeaway that I want to pinpoint here. And then a discussion question could be, honestly, anything involving what made you stressed out today. What made you stressed out today? How did you handle it? And what type of coping mechanism would you have used for it if you didn't already during that stressful situation? So that's kind of like a discussion question that I would like to pinpoint there as well. Thank you.